Still on the Mwakideru, Mwa, Mwakideu, yeah. Season Mwakideu and Burale issue. But in this episode, I want now to talk. I want to talk to women. I want to talk to girls. I want to talk to brides. I want to talk to in that order. But most importantly, to brides. You'll notice that according to Madame, she was checking Burale's emails 1 year into the marriage. So she was a bride. And I want to talk to those newly married women. I want to talk to newly married women. The little that we know is that there's someone with patience to listen to everything. But very few people have listened to the whole episode through and through. So there is very little we know about it because there are very few people who has the patience to follow that particular story throughout. So mine is an advice to the group I've just said, and that is the target for me. She did what very many women in her situation does, and those are the women I want to address to. But before we continue, supposing the lady did not go through his private mails, suppose she did not go through the private mails, would the world have been different? Most likely it would have been different, because all these things, what she's talking about, okay, we have some people who are trying to say that Burale is a celibate fellow. You know, there are two things which are completely and different topics. You cannot say that one is related to the other. They can happen them both, or they can be independent of each other. But even where someone has done them both, they are not tied really. They are not really tied to each other. There is some people who believe that Burale was celibate, which is quite different from homosexuality. And somebody even corrected me in the other videos that at no time has she accused him of homosexuality. No. From the recordings is that she was concerned about his watching movies of homosexuality, or even being in contact with such things. Of course, we have some people who may not themselves be homosexuals, but they may. Okay, I've never come across such a case, but it is quite possible that there are some people who may like watching certain aspects of character without they themselves doing so. Before anybody asks me how did you come across such a thing, just know that I'm a former cop and a former intelligence officer. So what I'm trying to say here is that somebody has told me and convinced me that she did not say that he was homosexual, but he came across those, and even after she made it clear to him that such inappropriate things were there, he never went ahead to delete them or do whatever, and he continued receiving and having access to that. So that is why I want to ask the ladies, the young ladies, the newly married ladies, that supposing the lady, uh, by then she was a bride, newly married, supposing she did not go into those private pages, would the world not have been different? Things would have been different. It is possible that they would still have been together even today. It would have been possible that they would still be together even today. So the act of going into his private mail, contributed to this, and it has contributed to her, because even today, so many years after that, she is still haunted by that. She's still haunted by that because she still remembers it. That is one. Two, she's even saying that her worst mistake was to get married for him, or even fall in love with him. So far, the only evidence we have is because she went through those mails. If she would not, nowadays, there is WhatsApp, video shares and whatever, but those in your phone, in your smartphone. But I think those times it used to be through email. Why did she go through the email? And that is why I've always been advising, whenever I talk to couples, I advise the ladies, don't, I mean, not even, mostly ladies, because such things happen to ladies most of the time. Just don't interfere. I mean, there are some aspects of your spouse that he or she would want them private, including you. I've even seen some young girls, when I talk to them that way, when I used to talk to them that way, they'd say, "Imagine, he's my husband. Why should he have something to hide?" Uh, Kindly understand that if he doesn't want you to know, just keep off. If he doesn't want you to know, just keep off. There is a lady who even asked me, "You mean?" And I told her in the presence of her husband, if he decides that certain aspects and he's my husband, he's my spouse. How do you imagine that? I said, if you can't live with that, then divorce him right away. Mm. There are those things that even if it is a lady you are married into the family, there are some times when family issues, you leave it to him. Also, ladies, I see my school, especially I went to very many, 7 primary schools, one from 1 to form 4, Nairobi Technical, and one for form 5 and 6. But I find that the WhatsApp group that we have, the WhatsApp group that we have for Nairobi Technical, that is COGS, we are just boys. In fact, we just behave the way we used to behave. And even though we are in the late 60s, in the mid 60s to mid 70s, but we do that. So allow your spouse freedom to have his or her private affairs, what, leave alone family, even friends or whatever. I think I may repeat that later, but I just wanted to insist that. And if you are not comfortable with that, please terminate that marriage. Just give him free space. If he feels that, or if she feels, if your spouse feels that you are entitled, you should know something, then your spouse can introduce you into the topic. But if your spouse decides that you should not be included in ABCD, just keep off. Yeah, we have instances where men have snooped into their partners' uh, affairs, but 99.99% of the snooping comes from women. The little occasions that comes from men, of course, out of 1,000 men, you'll always find an insecure man, especially if the woman comes from a rich background, especially if the woman earns more than him, especially if the woman is the sole breadwinner. especially. But in most of the cases, 95% of those cases is when the couple are not of the same generation. Uh, if the man is the same age group with the parents of that woman, or if the woman is the same age group with the children, with his children, or both such, you find that the man is never, he will always snoop around. And I've gone through that. I've gone through that. Unfortunately, it even involved a cousin of mine. You see, you go there, you find she got married to somebody who's okay. She was the same age group with his daughters. But when I go there, we talk a lot. He could not even. It reached a time when he visited our home, his in-laws home, and found me there. That's when from that day onwards, he became very comfortable with me. But before that, he used to think that I'm pretending to. So I'm trying to say here that when you find cases where men are snooping on women, in over 95% of the cases, they are not in the same what do you call age group. But it is usually with women. In men, they are not of the same age group. The woman comes from a very rich, powerful family, or the woman earns more than the man, or even the woman is the sole breadwinner. That one you can find snooping in men, but 99.99% of snooping comes from women. Supposing, I say again, if she would not have snooped, they would still be married today. That one I've repeated. Supposing she would not have snooped, she would not be having mental anguishes 15 years later. If she would not have snooped on that particular day, or even thereafter, she would still be happily married to the man. If she would not have snooped the second instance, she would not be happy. Imagine they have separated. They have separated 15 years on, and she's still having mental anguish. I am talking to young girls. Don't snoop. You have seen your elder sister. She snooped, and 15 years on, she still needs counseling. Whatever she did came to haunt her back. It is haunting her. We don't know. Maybe the man just moved on, whatever, as if nothing happened. So we are assuming that it is that snooping that made her differ with him. So suppose she did not have done, and I still insist. I'm talking about snooping. Women, please keep off snooping. 7 to 10 years ago, young couples stopped coming to see me for advice. I don't know. But if you ask me, because I have never gone there to ask them, why have you stopped? Nowadays, I get only one or two people coming for advice from me. But around 10 years ago is when people stopped coming for counseling, marriage. A couple, a man and a woman, a husband and a wife have differed. They come to me and they seek for. Nowadays, it's very rare. Actually, it stays very long for me to get such. But I still have a few cases of women snooping into their partner's phones. Even those few cases where you find men and women coming to me for advice. Mzee, elder brother, can you advise the other? You find that quite a big number of it comes from, quite a big number of problems comes from the lady snooping. Uh, on social media, you see many cases of a man going through his phone, seated on a seat like this one, not knowing that behind him there is a window and the lady is out there trying to monitor what is it that he's going through. Yet his woman is behind, monitoring everything. We even have cases where a man suddenly, while taking bath, would rush to get his phone lest his woman checks it. We have had those cases, and some have even been serious because from bathroom you may step on stone on soap and it becomes really serious. I have confronted a few ladies, and you find in in those cases she looks me in the eyes and tells me without blinking, why should your spouse have secrets? Sincerely, you find, I'm telling you know, when I stopped when the cases of couples coming for marital counseling for me ceased about 10 years ago, we had very few cases, very few people had smartphones. People are still having kabambi. So you find that nowadays, when you have instances where the nowadays we find instances where people with kabambi are very few. People with kabambi are very few. Almost everybody has a phone. So you find that the few cases that I come across, uh, I usually ask the ladies sincerely, why do you go into your man's phone and checks whatever? During my time, yes, we had even cases somebody checks into your bag, briefcase, and whatever such things. But you see, a woman becomes shocked that I can even think of that question, and she looks me into the eye and asks me, "Why should your husband have secrets?" As I've said before, especially I'm talking to young brides. I'm talking to young brides that don't compel your spouse to tell you everything. First of all, your spouse is your spouse. Uh, there's a joke we used to make. There's a joke we used to make when I was an inspector of police. I would visit. It is really hard during those days for police inspectors to visit the houses of their juniors, but I used to visit. I'm one of the few inspectors who would even go there and get a cup of tea. And I used to tell the women that when your husband enters this house, he's your husband. But when he's outside, there is my junior, is my police officer. I can instruct him for anything or whatever. So that is how it is, and I would want to tell young ladies that yes, I'm avoiding using the word because it may look inappropriate, but you find that we used to tell women that your husband is your husband for 12 hours. The other 12 hours, he belongs to everybody. Now you find that the 12 hours that the husband is out of the house or anything, first of all, he's a parent, he's a father to somebody. Second, he's a member of the neighborhood community. He's a member of the neighborhood community. He has, like I've said, we have these cogs, former students of Nairobi Technical. Leave him to be with the boys. Yeah, leave him to be with the boys. Don't follow there. People will start talking how they were in Form 3. Eh, unakumbuka yule msichana yake alikuwa Wangara, ama yule msichana yake alikuwa Pangani. You find such things, and you see, keep away. And if you have to be there, men are usually very careful. They know you are there, so they'll know what to talk. But when you are not there, so when he's with the boys, that is the word I was looking. If when he's there with the boys, and when he's with his relatives, let give him to them. Let them be with him. And as an expert in secrets, as a former NIS, because secret was our oxygen, the best secret is the secret that somebody gives you willingly. But if you compel your spouse at everything he knows, whatever you have to know, and that is not good. Mm, that is not good. So that is the answer I have for why should your spouse have secrets? I'm an expert in secrets, and I think I've answered that extensively. And I usually tell the women that if you have reasonable conviction that your spouse is snooping into your phone, then you can snoop into his phone. That one I usually tell, and even when the husband is there, I usually tell them that if your husband snoops into your phone, then snoop. But you'll find that 99% of the snooping cases, they are women. Uh, Over 80% of them are very sure that her husband doesn't snoop. So you find that almost all the women I ask, they say they are sure that their husbands don't snoop. Then I say, okay, if there is any law, I don't know whether it is religious or whatever, or tradition or anything which says they should not. Why is it that then your husband doesn't snoop in you? Uh, after saying that, you find the women still feel entitled. They feel entitled to snoop. As for her, the lady, to discuss such uh, issues with her brother, this is the first time I've ever had for a lady to talk such intimate things with her brother. That one I've never had, and this is the first time, and I hope it is the last time I'll ever hear of it. I have never come across a brother and a sister talk such issues that affects the sister. But if it affects the brother, I have come across very many cases, including so many cases I've discussed my girlfriends with my sisters, but intimate things that a brother talks about his sister. Ah, Mwakideu, have you ever visited a place called Bunyore? Or have you visited a place called Kisi? You can't. I mean, you find that the man can talk about his girlfriend and even wife, but not very much, but somehow about the wife, those intimate things with his sister. But talking to the sister talking to her brother about those things. I'd imagine, first of all, I mean, maybe that is Luhyaism, but among the Luyas, you don't discuss that with your sister. I don't know, maybe it is the other tribes or even some family. That is why at times it is also not good to say such tribe, but wataita wako hivi or something. Maybe that is something that is just within that family, but it is not fair to talk with. At imagine, okay, let me give a very good example. A man or the brother is trying to talk to a girl, and the girl is becoming a bit tough and whatever. The man can go and visit his sister and try to send the sister to talk to the girl, sense into the girl. But when a boy is having a no, no, when a girl is having a problem with her boy, and in this case, I'm trying to give an example where your partner is not behaving the way you'd expect him or her to behave. I don't imagine where. Uh, I've seen very many cases where you tell your sister, you go and talk to this girl. She's proving a bit tougher, or she's trying to prove, or whatever. Or even if you want to marry that girl, you can use your sister and tell her, the sister, among the lawyers, there is this joke that your sister can tell your girlfriend, come on, I want you to, there is that lawyer proverb thing that says, I want the cows that will come from where I'm married to go to your home. They just pass our home and go there. So I have to choose whoever, whichever family benefits from the cows from my area. But sincerely talking, imagining that even a girl telling the brother at this guy who's dating me is and okay, I've never come across, but I would imagine that a man, a Luhya man trying to, okay, I'm sorry if I'm tribal, but I'm trying to imagine where you ask your sister how she's going on with her brother, with your brother-in-law. I should just say, oh, tunaendelea vizuri tu. Actually, should even be embarrassed that you're asking such questions. But today's discussion was just something simple that what you don't know does not hurt you. Young ladies, brides, and whatever, what you don't know does not hurt you. Just avoid it unless ikupate mwenyewe. Thank you.